A post-adolescent boy who doesn't know what fear is may be presumed uninformed of other basic emotions. He may be, in short, a dunce and not worth our notice. But here's an account of such ignorance that makes the boy out to be interesting and nearly clever, if lazy. We can't be surprised at the boy's loopy innocence, as the father seems less than a bright light. The boy gets no help from these mopes. He might as well have interviewed drying laundry. The boy stops by a schoolyard, where he helps solve the crime. So the search continues. His ignorance is unimproved. Can no one and nothing teach this boy what fear is? He takes a peculiar job with the local royal. Oh no, King, even you in your majestic wisdom can err. I think we know where this is heading. Nothing frightens the boy, or not so he'll admit it. Ah, another happy wedding. A deafening sudden noise is shocking, certainly, and when one evacuates one's bowels on being shocked, he may mistake the cause as fear. So the boy, to my mind, never did learn what fear was. Title's kind of a misnomer, but it has a more sensible outcome than the Brother's Tale, where the lad supposedly learns about fear by learning to shudder. His wife dumps cold water down his pants while he's sleeping. Where's the fun in that? Want to learn more about real fear? Play on. When a father, thick as a brick, sends his son away to learn about fear, we're right to be skeptical. What can he know about fear and where to find it? True, there's nothing scary close to home. Looks like a child's playpen. Let's fix that, shall we? Bubble, trouble, scream and burn! Pyrophobia is fear of fire. Who's got it? The boy spends a night under the village gallows and hears the story of a man who's being executed for a crime he didn't commit. Boo-hoo! Where there's smoke, there's fire. Anyway, he's dead, or nearly. Who cares? Where's the fear? Woo! Look at him twist! Let's go! I'm tired of hanging out here. The boy exposed the teacher as a thief. Who's afraid of a kleptomaniac, or whatever he is? No one found fear here, did they? Let's put a scare into these people. Run, idiots, run! What does this have to do with learning about fear? Yes, the teacher is punished for his crime, but really, you call that punishment? Let's make him fry! Burn, baby, burn! Now that's paying the price. Punishment at its finest. Are we frightened yet? Still looking for fear in all the wrong places? The boy watches as the thief is given a proper burial. Well, wait! This doesn't look like a burial. More like a wedding. I hate weddings! Let's render it funereal. Or better, or worse. Finally, it seems the boy really does want to find fear. The king's castle is haunted, a fearsome and awful place. If the boy can stay there the entire night, he'll purge the place of fiends and marry the princess. Ugh. Can we make sure he fails, please? The boy agrees to spend the night in the haunted castle. Courageous, plucky, or idiotic? You be the judge. Let's make sure he learns what fear really is. Talk about scary. I almost wet myself. I can't believe he survived the night. He's either missing some parts, or they're all made of brass. Well, he conquered the oh-so-scary haunted castle. And of course, now there has to be a stinking wedding. Let's finish this before my gorge rises any higher. Whoops, now he knows what fear is, at least fear of death. Nothing like a wedding where the bouquet explodes. Here's to the bitter end. Despite the title, we've seen that the boy was very well acquainted with fear. His pretended ignorance was youthful bravado and an effective ruse, an excuse to leave home and the unwanted supervision of his father. This scene might strike fear in anything more sentient than a turkey vulture. Masses of humans dangling to death like discarded, rotted fruit. The bell-thieving teacher deserved a whipping. That punishment fits the crime, but the crowd demanded more. This finally makes some sense. The boy never volunteered to rid the castle of its demons. He was shanghaied. Uh-oh, the groom needs a fresh set of drawers, and the bride could use some smelling salts. In the end, you'll excuse my expression, note that the boy learned that fear has at least one thing in common with simple surprise. Both can make you mess your pants unexpectedly. May all our stories end so well. Until next time. Here's a poser. How does Little Red Riding Hood, a disobedient child with eyesight poor as her judgment, escape mutilation from her confrontation with the most feared and hated creature of the forest? She wouldn't, of course, but don't tell the brothers Grimm. The story begins with a standard mother-daughter conflict. Mother gives daughter detailed instructions and advice, which daughter immediately ignores. Is there a moral here? The forest is home to many animals, and not all are fit for pets or food. What a credulous ninny. The wolf's already selected Granny for his entree. While she dawdles, he's on his way to the Three Oaks. Having previously demonstrated the acuity, if not the temperament, of a rock, no one should be surprised that Red Riding Hood is outmaneuvered by the wolf when she arrives at her granny's. Her cries for mercy were in vain, of course. Mercy was not in the wolf's nature. Little Red Riding Hood joined her granny in the dark. I've heard of a room for two, but this verges on the incredible. All wolves and pythons have more in common than I imagined. In perhaps the most far-fetched rescue ever, a lumberjack with an expert sense of lupine anatomy passes by. This worthy naturalist, noting the wolf's belly is dangerously distended, relieves the creature's distress with his scalpel-sharp axe and simultaneously saves both women from the wolf's digestive juices. The wolf learned a lesson, all right. They've all got rocks in their heads. What a crock! I mean, what kind of parent sends a child into the woods alone? What child mistakes a savage wolf for her beloved grandma? And nobody dies? If you'd like to add a bit of flavor and spice to this tasteless, if happy meal, play on. Once there was a way to get back home again. But not anymore. A simple stroll in the woods can be a walk on the wild side. Tell me that's not a good thing. I'll say you're wrong. Mother sends Little Red Riding Hood to tend her aged granny and implores the child not to dawdle along the way. Isn't that precious? I hate it. Let's fix it. We're off to see Granny. If we're lucky, she'll expire before we get there. Little Red Riding Hood encounters a wolf in the deep, dark woods. No wonder she's not afraid. I have cats that look meaner and more dangerous. That's my kind of wabbit. The wolf races to Grandma's, while Little Red Riding Hood, the thoughtless twit, picks flowers. I'd like to see Granny get the chomp, and Red deserves some grief for her behavior. The only flowers that don't make me nauseous are dead ones. Little Red Riding Hood arrives at Grandmother's house. The ninny makes it to Granny's, but is she in time? Oh, I certainly hope not. Red notices something's amiss, but not nearly amiss enough for me. Cease the charade, wolf! The belly of the beast. Ugh, even this dismal stinkhole needs some refurbishing. Stop enjoying the digestive juices. Oh, bother. Here comes the pesky woodsman to rescue the idiots from their demise. Come on, friend, let them digest a little longer, eh?
Little Red Riding Hood and Grandma are rescued by a woodsman.
Everything good has to end. I'd hoped they'd melt away in there. As it is, the woodsman has salvaged their worthless hides. Now they'll want revenge. Well, let's make sure it's painful. Finally, the wolf gets the shaft. Not really fair, is it? The beast was only doing what came naturally, but if he's going to die, let's make sure it's gruesome. Dust to dust, ashes to ashes, to his final reward the old wolf dashes. Ha 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 ha! That really showed them. Now that we've made these tasty revisions, the story bears a passing resemblance to a decent tale. I mean, when a big bad wolf meets a young girl alone in the woods, what are the chances that she would escape their meeting without violence? No. There's no happily ever after here. Someone or something had to die. Changes had to be made, you see. No choice, really. The wolf, inebriated and helpless from his recent meal, was set upon by a half-crazed bounty hunter who'd been tracking him for weeks. Only by chance did Granny and Red Riding Hood escape the blade of his fearsome axe. They tumbled out of his belly, stinking, but allegedly no worse for wear. They might have survived. I doubt it. In the French version, Perrault says they both got gobbled up and digested. It warms the heart and other parts when all the creatures in a tale get what they deserve. May all our stories end so well. Until next time. Moralists claim that this squalid story is a tragedy. But as the greedy and terminally stupid couple survives the precipitous reversal of their fortunes, which indeed resulted from their own wretched behavior, it's barely a cautionary tale. The fisherman hasn't recently caught anything but a cold. Still, he's happy. But this evidently being his lucky day, the hapless fisherman hooks a flounder who, wouldn't you know, is enchanted. The flounder was true to his word. A castle with 100 rooms and as many servants, and indoor plumbing to boot, stands where his hovel had been. His wife, swollen with pride, hardly blinks when told the castle is a gift from a fish. He's just a messenger, see, no wants of his own, the pathetic sap. Thinks he can satisfy this lunatic battle-axe's hankering for more stuff. Wrong! Pope? What was to become of the current one? And what did he think would happen to him when she's Pope? Well, she perhaps has not heard the popular saying that there is no God but God. A distinct change in tone, no, but lost on the fisherman, I'm certain. Could she be any dumber? Never heard of overreaching, selfish, vulgar, and profane? They wasted their chance to improve their lot. She demanded to be more than human. He did not dissuade her. But are they truly punished for their wicked pride? No! They don't have what they never had. Big deal! If you think that's pretty thin, too, play on. Beyond unrequited love, this destitute fisherman has little to offer his disgruntled wife. Shelter and meagre sustenance from the sea are not enough for her. I'd have left the witch. Sickening, really. Let's make them appreciate what they don't have. Her true self exposed. She's kicked him out and is left with nothing but her amorphous desire for something, anything, more. The formerly luckless angler hooks a magic flounder and wishes on behalf of his wife, the grasping shrew, for a bigger house. How novel! The flounder swears he'll deliver, while hardly seeming to mind a hook piercing its sagging lip. Perhaps a bit of sand in that wound would improve his bite. Arr, matey! Made her go boom! A vainglorious castle has replaced his dumpy domicile. The only thing more insipid than realized wishes are white weddings. Let's ruin this joint before I sicken up! The castle did not slake her thirst for things. Who couldn't see that coming? Now she wants to be Pope, though obviously several cards short of a full deck. Is she crazy enough to want that sort of power? Let's deprive her of what's left of her wits. She's flippin' crazy now! Woohoo! Look at her go! My turn! My turn! Hey, hey, ah! The fisherman, abject but willing slave to his wife's ambition, demands the papacy for her delectation. Would that he have asked for her premature demise! Oh, foul weather! Boil and bubble, toil and trouble, convert this all to trash and rubble! The fisherman's home has morphed into a church. If you believe in organized religion, or a supreme being who cares about us, you might be moved. But as I don't, let's break down the door. Oh, now I'm having a ball. Maybe I don't mind church so much after all. First the castle, now the church, and the bitch still isn't satisfied. Now she wants to be God. If only she knew what a boring job he has, she'd think twice. We're in church. Where's the guilt, the sin, the wrath? Let's make it biblical. Oh, smite me! Oh, smite me! Woo! Heavenly! Oh, a climactic finale. I hope everyone dies in the end. The fisherman makes his final wish, that his wife become unto God. I know where this is going, but I'll save the surprise. Yes, yes, take that, you cursed she-devil! Now you're living under God and you're liking it! God lives like a peasant! God lives like a... And that's the holy end of that. The fisherman was a dim-witted and pliant tool of his insatiable wife, and his weak character invited disaster. Their downfall loomed, one greedy want away. And we didn't have to wait long for the anvil to drop. Mopes got what they deserved, I say. The wife's taste ran to more anything. Food, money, stuff, whatever. The limp husband would do anything to appease her voracious appetite and unquenchable thirst. The moment he caught the magic flounder, it was enlisted in perpetual service to his wife's ruinous greed. Even poor as dirt, she treated her husband and her neighbours like dumb beasts. You've heard of the arbitrary and capricious nature of unintended consequences. Bet the new pope hadn't. Or hubris? How about arrogance? Self-indulgence? Oh, never mind. This is good. I'm not cruel by nature. But this dunce has had more than his share of chances to redeem his stupidity. Ignorant to the very end, she believes the fates have conspired against her. She is a blameless, pathetic wretch. Fortune's fool, the plaything of wicked, unnatural forces. Never crossed her mind that her greed could be fed, but she could never be full. Those who expect a fair shake when they roll dice with enchanted fish are incurable optimists, unwitting masochists, or idiots. For this couple, I bet on the last. May all our stories end so well. Until next time. When a grown man has the gall to blame his dismal prospects on his deceased father and threatens to kill and eat his feline inheritance, he deserves whatever gruesome penalty fate can dish out. The sons of a humble miller divide his possessions before he's barely cold. The cat, called Puss, being a far sight more clever than his new master, concocts a scheme to save both their lives. the cat, forever generous and altruistic, and if you believe that, I'd like to sell you some land in Xanadu, begins to deliver on the first installment of their salvation. This starts to sound fishy. What's he gonna do with all these rabbits? Puss knows just where to redeem this herd of cuddlies. Oh, brother, Puss's master doesn't even know what a marquee is. Once he sets the hook, Puss plays the deeply loopy king before reeling him in. What luck! The completely senseless marquis will not have to gad about completely naked, and the princess is quite taken with him also. Puss moves ahead of the carriage so he can further inflate his master's reputation. Very persuasive. What tact, what discretion, a natural diplomat. Puss's scheme relies on the king's ignorance of his kingdom's geography and people, as well as his willingness to be closely advised by a talking cat in unconventional footwear. And for Puss's final coup, he stops at a sumptuously decorated, if forbidding, castle where lives a rich and powerful ogre. A decent trick, but exploiting such a creature's vanity is so easy. Not kosher, really, but effective. They're purported to have lived happily ever after. I suspect I'm not the first to find something less than satisfying, let alone credible, in a secretly swashbuckling feline. What say we craft a scenario that befits the cunning and courage of the cat? When the old miller kicks off, he leaves his paltry estate, a distressed mill, a dumb donkey, and a tomcat, to his 3 worthless and mean-spirited sons. There's bound to be foul play afoot. Let's make it fouler. Ha! All your base belong to us. Now there's a deal. The cat's plan starts with some hunting. Let's make it gruesome. When the hunt moves underground, Puss continues the carnage. Ugh! 1 billion bunnies with their hippity-hoppity-jumpity-umpity, look at my cute little cotton puff tail wiggle like so. Enough! Dumb bunnies, let's cull the herd. Where's my boomstick? Let's blow it up! Whoa, it's raining rabbits! Will there be enough good bits left for a decent stew? Puss's plan progresses when he presents carcasses to the king. This seemingly misguided attempt to garner royal favor works. The king is impressed by deceased legomorphs. Pretty sick, no? Well, let's make 'em sicker. Being messed about by a big bunny would be an affront to my dignity if I had any. To elicit royal sympathy, Puss contrives to have the king believe his master, whose name is Brian, by the way, has been stripped and robbed by highwaymen. Where is this going? Nakedness? Bandits? Oh, what the hell? Let's make it nude banditos. We're a few burritos short of a fiesta. Ride on, signores. Olé! While his master rides with the king, Puss threatens the local farmers. Tell a big lie or perish. Help! Help! You're being oppressed! Easy choice. They've seen Puss's mouth. And this plan has some teeth, too. Let's make 'em sharp. Move, beasties! Now do you see the violence inherent in a class system based on land ownership? Do you? Lawn bowling with bovines. Wah! Well, next time you make a scarecrow, you should build it to look like me. I work. Puss, hoping to secure a satisfying finale for his master, mentally jousts with the unnatural creature. A dangerous game if he weren't a vain dolt, and I've got underwear more hideous. Let's make him truly revolting. The ogre flexes his shape-shifting muscles and becomes a lion. If he'd eat this arrogant and reckless Puss, we could close up shop and go home. That'd be too easy, wouldn't it? The ogre once again transforms, becoming an enormous, evil pear? Hey! Hey, stay the hell out of my stories, you oversized piece of produce! The ogre transforms again, this time becoming a mouse? Hey, puss! Eat that, you might get dumber, as if such a thing was possible. Bollocks! What's the deal here? Was she just waiting on the other side of that door with a wedding party for the ogre to be murdered? The moral of the story? Cats are tiny monsters. Their lies, threats, and outright murder are acceptable, nay, desirable means to human happiness and wealth. Wonder where I can get a nice cat. Meow, meow. There was nothing natural about the old man's death, and his son's response to it was self-serving and indecent. In the context of this drama, Puss can hardly be blamed for acting like a human. Turns out father's been brutally murdered, and his oldest son has blood on his hands. Puss had no intention of becoming a meal or a muff. Puss cleared the warren of a raft of rabbits. Then he took the whole mess to the king. Puss perfectly understood the maniac royal's predilection for gore and guts. With the world gone mad and naked, and the bogus Mcgee coming apart, as it were, Puss had little need to further ingratiate himself into the king's good graces. But he had a story, and he was sticking to it. The king, in fact, was smitten with the cat. What he did for the hapless Mcgee was really for Puss's sake. Whoever propagated this notion of good ogres never met one. Nasty bits of work ogres are. In my previous description of the ogre, I omitted dumb, egregious oversight. Include it now. It's a defining characteristic. Now, to celebrate multiple murders, massive deceptions, grievous bodily harm, gross assaults on bodies and minds, a wedding. Ah, these characters deserve one another. Yuck. May all our stories end so well. Until next time. When a total stranger offers a poor miller vast wealth in return for something of obviously lesser value, should it not arouse suspicion? Of course it should. But today's dunderhead, a man with as much imagination as a lump of coal, isn't even a teeny bit skeptical. There's no way but poorly for things to go for such a dimwit. The miller gathers firewood to supplement his puny income. Old Scratch has returned to collect his due. Turns out the miller's daughter was standing behind the mill, beside the apple tree. Grateful? I think not. What would you do in her place? Might murder be on her mind? It ought to be. Having beat the devil, whose aversion to water is frankly not that well known, the girl is on her own. She has no use for her craven father. Starving, unable to work for food, she happens upon a royal orchard. What luck! The king is off to war. That's mainly what kings do, and they often do it poorly. Alas, this was not to be, for the devil is first and foremost a mischief-maker with no sense of humour. Often the devil altered letters between the king and queen with his own, dare I say, diabolical messages. The messenger is his unwitting dupe. The queen has abandoned the palace. Thanks to the devil's work, she thinks the king wants her dead. Once again she is on her own, though the silver hands provide some assistance. Thinking of that old reprobate must have cost her. What an extremely large load of bovine excrement! Once again, an adult, a ridiculous excuse for a parent, barters a child's welfare to secure his personal gain, and is not held accountable for his atrocious actions. If you'd like to see father pay a higher price for maiming his daughter, play on. A miller makes a deal with the devil, wealth in exchange for what stands behind his mill. Stupid flippin' gate! Who's your papa? The miller chops off his daughter's hands. The cowardly wheat grinder has no idea that his brutal act will temporarily save her from Satan. He's just looking out for number one. Well, at least someone's suffering, but why should she be the only one? Ha ha ha! We're all blown in the wind. After abandoning her home, this abused and starving freak happens upon the royal garden and steals a pear. Maybe the guards will stab her. I can hope, can't I? The king invites the handless one into his castle. She steals his pears, but the king invites her in and immediately decides he wants to marry her. A thief with no hands? Perhaps it's a good match, as he seems to have no brains. A fine royal couple. Get me out of here. Nuptials make me puke. Some months after the wedding, the king goes off to war. What's the rush? Oh, that explains it. Babies are fun in the making, less fun in the rearing. So deliciously gross. I am suddenly speechless. Even 1,000 words couldn't capture it. Lucifer has more in store for these creatures. He switches the king's love letter with instructions to execute the queen. Switches the letter? Oh, please! Heaven forfend! Gee, Satan, can't you get darker than that? See, Satan? That's how it's done, you milquetoast panty waste, you pathetic excuse for an evildoer, you slimy, stupid little... The queen catches wind of the execution plans and flees into the wilderness. Doesn't look very wild, does it? Let's acquaint her with real torment. An angel rescues the hapless queen from the wilderness. Where was she when the queen's hands were getting lopped off? The logic stinks. Well, no matter. Let's make sure this isn't an easy way out. Seriously, why the late save? I mean, you guys could have done something before she got the chop. Stupid angel. Well, the queen and king are finally reunited. Everyone rejoices. But wait a second. Her numbskull father shouldn't get away with his cruelty. Let's make this a reunion to remember. Let's give her a hand. She needs it for her profound contribution to righteous retribution. Dancing in the rain, despite my migraine, blood's oozing all over, I'm ecstatic again. Oh, yeah! La-di-da-da, la-di-da-di-da, da-di-da, la-di-da-da, woohoo! No doubt the girl without hands was Fortune's fool, sorely abused by her father and through no fault of her own, made to suffer long by so-called higher powers. But she understood the true meaning of revenge, and when she saw her opportunity, she grabbed it with both hands. What a tool. No fight, no resistance, no balls. Well, she was just his daughter. The miller was such a senseless, selfish lout. He believed he'd outwitted the devil. The girl was driven from home. She sought out the royal garden, thinking the king at least would have some food. The girl without hands became queen, and the brutal king's willing helpmate. Vicious is as vicious does, I say. Once she produced an heir, he left her in charge when he toddled off to quell a citizen rebellion, murder some peasants, or execute recalcitrant enemies. The devil, altering one of the king's letters home, ordered the queen's execution. Nice work. The queen, motivated by the dire, if faulty, intelligence that she was next on the to-be-dispatched list, hastily made it out of the palace. Finally, a parent will get what he so richly deserves. Thank you, spirit, or whatever you are. She knows that's got to hurt. I never heard the expression, an arm for an arm, but I'm certain it's been said. The world looks no better once justice has been served. Nor no worse either. Perhaps that's just as well. Cruelty, selfishness, and abuse are never excised nor redeemed in a single generation. May all our stories end so well. Until next time. When their 13th child plops out, and the hapless parents don't even take a pledge of abstinence, they've apparently abandoned good judgment along with restraint. They hope a godfather may ameliorate their folly. Nonsense! Right, any other man would be contemplating a permanent exit, and who could blame him, poor Randy Sod? Now here's undeserved luck. Looking for a godparent, this mope finds God! Bloody hell! He thinks there's a better godfather than God? Wonder what God thinks about it. Well, he's on a roll. I believe the operative verse is, "Seek and ye shall find." But this is ridiculous. Equal time and treatment to the champions of good and evil, I suppose. Neither has much reason to complain. But who's next? Why, it's death. And the horse he rode up on. Not the only criterion on which to base the decision, but probably not the worst. The boy grew up without incident or remarkable event, and when he had come of age, his macabre godparent charted his future and introduced him to a miraculous herb. Death was as good as his word. His godson became rich and was later appointed the king's personal physician. But when the king's time had come, the godson was loath to let him die. A more perspicacious being would have seen Death's declaration for the lethal guarantee it was. He lied, of course, but what did he know? He wouldn't be getting back to anyone above ground. Oh, this doesn't look good. Candles snuffed out, Death giving a guided tour of the underworld. Symbolism's a bit too clear. I might have cursed the darkness and let it go at that. Was the physician fated for an early death, or was his premature demise a punishment? The storyteller doesn't say, but without an answer, the tale is a muddle of unhappy accidents. Death was chosen as godfather, and God's not offended at being passed over? The devil takes no for an answer. That would be a first. And then all-powerful Death, the great leveler, pretends he's going to spare his witless godson. I don't think so. If you agree, play on. Not so very long ago, when ignorance was more common, if less forgiving than now, an abjectly poor woman presented her willfully stupid husband with their 13th and least wanted child. Woo! He nearly ran out of his clothes. Pity he couldn't keep his pants on at home. The indiscriminate breeder seeks a godfather to support his latest spawn. He decides that God isn't up to the job. And, according to me, God doesn't take rejection well. The rampant spawner mulls over old Scratch as a godfather, but declares him lacking. What's with the nuns? Ooh, I love it when they do my bidding. Nonetheless, we shouldn't dawdle. My favorite part is next. Oh, boy, this moron has found one he can't refuse. Death. Who better for a godfather? I should have asked God why he thought this dolt should go forth and multiply. This environment doesn't suit our bony friend. Let's cool it down. Whoa, Death, yeah, you the man, El Jefe, the Grim Reaper, if I do say so. Oh. I slept like a statue. Is that bird do? No? What's happening? Oh, so, Death instructed his godson in the herb's magical properties and followed up with a stern admonition concerning its misuse. Considering this dolt's lineage, what were the chances he'd heed the warning? I prefer my herbs carnivorous. Eat your veggies before they eat you. Plague, my pretties, plague! Plague befalls the king, and the godson, now doctor to the royal family, saves him with an unauthorized application of the magic herb. Death is pissed. It's a pity to anger him when the royal person looks merely feverish. Let's make this treachery worth the wrath. Get sicker, king! When the comely princess got the plague, probably got it from Dad, the godson predictably used the herb to save her, contrary to Death's command. The princess lived, but the godson's history. Can't wait for this dunce to be dead. Next time you get sick, my dear, take 2 aspirin and die! He's too stupid to realize that begging is useless. He's going to the underworld, and not just for a visit. This makes sure he takes a few innocents along for the ride. Woohoo! Nothing like a day trip to the underworld. Death's sweet embrace. Death often tours his domain, but never for fun. Still, it seems too benign. Let's make it morbid. After he disobeys and insults Death, the dope pleads with him to relight his candle and spare his life. Please, Death, end it now, and let's make it messy. Death, you're too kind. Take this fool to Hades. He's kicked the bucket, given up the ghost. In short, he snuffed it, met his maker, passed away, passed over, passed out, passed gas, gone. Well, now it's clear. Better the silly sod had exposed the child, or thrown himself under the nearest ox cart to celebrate the birth. Who but a cowardly idiot wouldn't prefer extinction to utter hopelessness? Cheat death? I don't think so. A painful stint of suffering, misery, and death all round. Serve them right. Presumably another word for obtuse or oversexed, or both. So Death introduced his new assistant to the finer points of his craft. Who doesn't know that it's dangerous to break faith with a godfather? The doctor's overweening ambition and lack of judgment showed his true parentage. Death may be heartless, but he's fair, and he does know how to keep a promise. May all our stories end so well. Until next time. Presenting the devil as a thumb-sucking blonde is just the beginning of what's wrong with this tale of dumb luck seasoned with revenge. Still, it's always nice when the greedy get their just desserts. When a poor woman gives birth to a boy with a caul covering his face, the midwife proudly announces its significance. Not much trouble, I dare say. The humble parents never consider refusing the king. But the box floats upright. The child is rescued and raised by a miller. But when he turns 14, the king stops by the mill and sees a boy who seems somehow familiar. Money being scarce as a rat snake's earhole, the boy accepts a commission and sets off. On his journey, the luck child becomes utterly lost in the forest. Will he die here? No! Luck is a gratuitous compliment to the intelligent, but absolutely indispensable to the incompetent. The robbers substitute a marriage proposal to the princess for the death warrant, and they send him on his way, unmolested. The queen, evidently unfamiliar with her husband's handwriting, mounts a marriage between the princess and the luck child. But at the splendid wedding feast that followed, the king returns, and very pissed he is. Not afraid of the devil? Well, there's a tip-off right there. In any case, he sets off. The road leads him to the gates of a village. The watchman, not the brightest star in the sky, accepts the luck child's promise and lets him pass, and he soon comes before a gatekeeper in another village. Well, so much for modesty. Turns out you can fool all the people all of the time. The luck child continues his journey to hell until he comes to a wide river tended by a ferryman. So he crosses the water and finds the entrance to hell. Lucky for him, again, the devil is not at home, but his grandmother is. Who knew the devil had a granny? So the devil returns, bone-tired from doing whatever he does when he's out, and before long, he's fast asleep. Granny pulls out his golden hairs, one by one, and in explaining her dreams, she collects answers to the luck child's questions, along with the hairs. The luck child returns, bearing rewards for providing answers to the grateful watchman and gatekeeper, and he delivers the 3 golden hairs to the rapacious, insincere, and arrogant king. At the river, the greedy bastard hails the ferryman. This was the strategy the luck child had from the devil's own lips. Worked well. So as punishment for his wickedness, the king has to row. Perhaps he's ferrying still. The luck child survives on the kindness of strangers. Should have perished 10 times over as he lost his way and muddled through life. It's often said that it's better to be lucky than good, but it's not terribly satisfying. If you'd like a bit more grit with your gruel, lay on. Being born with the placenta covering your face makes you lucky? Thankfully, superstition has no sense of decency, but it's almost gross enough to bother me. Holy mother of blood, yeah, take that, you bloody gate! The king takes an immediate disliking to the bloody-headed luck child and his presumptive son-in-law and tries to drown him. This is luck, is it? The abused luck child drifts downstream. Let's visit some of this current run of luck on others. Let's make 'em dead. Drown, fools, drown! If we were in Australia, they would have drowned the other way round. The lucky child grows into a lucky young man, at which point the king sends him to deliver a message. I guess he never bothered to find out who threw him in a river. Dolt! Let's make him pay for his lack of curiosity. Tired and lost in the forest, Lucky stumbles upon a cabin where a woman with more on her mind than evening prayers advises him to leave before her dodgy housemates return. But of course he stays. This luck thing has gone to his head. Let's make him regret it. The thieves read the message Lucky's delivering and foil the king's plot to have him killed. Damn! Now there's going to be a wedding instead of a murder. Cruel, cruel fate! Why do you torment me so? Lucky indeed. He stumbles into marrying the princess. This guy isn't lucky. He's just annoying. I hate weddings. The pissed-off king once again intervenes. This guy's really growing on me, and sends Lucky on a suicide mission. Lucky passes through a village where the wine-flowing fountain has gone kaput.
Why has our fountain dried up?
Oh no, our liquor's all gone. They call this withdrawal. Let's give them the DTs with a puke chaser. Ha ha ha! That's what I call a serious amount of number 3. Why do these villagers think this kid can help them with their stupid problems? Anyway, they don't look like they're starving. This isn't a famine. When they start eating each other, I'll call it famine. Now, you skinny! Wish you'd spent less time in the vomitorium, I bet. These lost souls could stand to be more evil. The ferryman wants to know why he must always be ferrying people. Because he's a ferryman, idiot! Finally, Lucky's going to hell! With an assist from Granny Satan, who knew Satan had a grandmother, Lucky secures the requisite hairs. Granny. Probably a looker in her day. This hell is lukewarm. Let's heat things up. 1 down, 2 to go. 2 down, 1 to go. And I thought my farts were bad. Ah! Lucky returns home with the devil's hairs and 4 gold-bearing asses, rejoicing all around. But what's this? The king looks as sour as ever. Agreed. Let's make it intolerable. The king badly wants to find his pot of gold, and Lucky is happy to guide him. The king is a dolt to expect anything other than ill from the boy. Greed makes men blind, and it often kills them. C'est la vie. Following Lucky's instructions, the king begs to take the ferryman's oars. Revenge, a dish usually best served cold, has its ways when it's hot, too. The king will be rowing for eternity. That's a long time. Let's make him miserable now. Yeah! Spend eternity on fire! We'll ignore the fact that coal-bearers rarely saw day 2 of their lives. Calling them lucky was an attempt to ward off the sinister consequences the ignorant believed inevitably attended such a birth. But the luck child ran aground before he drowned. And instead of becoming bred, the luck child is adopted by the giant as if he were, like rain, a gift from God. Living in a man-eating giant's grist mill, it's remarkable that his luck held. But it did. Even when the king cajoled him to walk through the woods carrying his own death warrant. Ah, what wonders a pleasant way and soft hands can accomplish. The thieves turn the tables on the king and send Lucky on his way. He delivers the new message, is betrothed and married to the princess the same day. But then the king returns, mightily frosted. So off he goes. Turns out the road to hell is paved with much more than good intentions and some hard questions. As he travelled on, the questions and the scenery didn't improve. Finally he came to the watery entrance to hell, the river Styx, and another hard query. Lucky returns home with the goods, but the homecoming is not happy. The resentful king is jealous, too. He'll man that oar forever, or until he meets someone as stupid as himself. A suitable job for a murderous, covetous, and arrogant failure. Would that revenge was so easy to achieve, and its object so easy to dupe. I could be almost happy. May all our stories end so well. Until next time. This incredible tale of Beauty and her Beast would earn my highest recommendation were it more about bizarre enchantment and less about misguided love. Well, let's deal with it. The handsome family home is engulfed in flames. A grave cause for alarm, no? Some losses are evidently easier to bear than others. Father made one ultimately futile attempt to recover a portion of his assets. On his return from the city, and because he couldn't find ice at the North Pole, he becomes hopelessly lost. Hungry, horseless, and cold, he stumbles into a castle. Incredibly, I state with prejudice, it's enchanted, like a summer day, with flowering gardens, food, and surprise. Now Father returns home with Beauty's rose and his asses loaded with the beast's gold. It appears a bitter ransom. Father delivers Beauty to the beast, and she's less than terrified. Very interesting. After a cozy tour of the castle, she retires and falls asleep. And dreams. Oh, brother, what is it about obviously enchanted beasts and castles that she doesn't understand? Beauty's family has nice new digs, purchased with the money secured by her attendance on a murderous beast. No matter, it's joy and cuddles all around. And every night she does dream, but not of the charming prince. Instead, she conjures up an image of the beast dying in his garden. So she falls back asleep and wakes up back in the palace. Nice trick! When she finds the beast, he appears to have expired. He revives after Beauty douses him with water. Suddenly the beast disappears, and in his place stands the prince of her dreams. Beauty's the only one who didn't see this coming. It took courage to redeem her father's pledge. and to rescue the beast from his terrible enchantment. Still, I think she had some misgivings. They're alleged to have lived happily ever after. Double The quantity of puerile pap between the conflagration that began the tale and the premarital transformation with which it ended was enough to choke a hippopotamus. Need a drink to clear your throat? If so, play on. Beauty's house burns down and the family loses everything in it. Oh, it would break my tender heart if I had one. Let's incinerate the whole village. Burn, baby, burn! Disco Inferno! Just one ship? Let's destroy the whole flotilla. Flee, you coward! Flee! Father's search for his lost fortune was an utter failure. All he found was a cold. Too bad he escaped the pirates. Well, at least we can make it hoary. Does the lupine brain complain? Oh, Yeti again. Don't eat too fast, Wolfie. You'll get cramps. Father wanders up to an enchanted castle. What luck! May whatever he finds inside make short work of him. Don't fence me in. Let's get out of the cold. My pea's starting to freeze. Not only does Father find sweet summer in the middle of a winter storm, a warm meal appears before him. Oh, the power of magic! But he still looks chilled. Fire suits him, don't you think? Brings out the red in his eyes. Father is caught red-handed by the beast. The punishment for stealing roses? His daughter in exchange for his life. Doesn't seem bothered by the prospect, does he? Let's make him suffer. Whee! Father returns home with riches and bad news. Beauty must go to the beast. Shouldn't she be angry, upset, hurt? I'd be pissed. Is that a smile I see on her father's face? The bastard's just given his daughter to a monster! Let's show him what remorse should be. Now he looks remorseful, and is roasting quite nicely. And I thought I had a lousy father. Beauty and the Beast together at last. What's happened here? She doesn't seem the least concerned at becoming his next meal. Next thing you know, they'll be rubbing noses. Blech! Oh, that's beastly! Look at her run! Oh, you are hideous! Hey! Put me down! I don't want any of your ugly rubbing off on me! Ah! You're repulsive from a distance, too! Beauty sleeps, dreaming of her family back home. Doesn't she look calm and quiet? That's right. Too quiet. Let's give her some nightmares. I hope she wets the bed. Beauty dreams of her family. This is too cute. Aye, matey. Nightmare ahoy! Beauty returns home to much forced jollity. I hate such rejoicing. Let's crash this party. Is she dreaming again? A rich fantasy life is a fine thing, but like money, difficult to manage. Into Never Never Land once again. Oh, let there be pirates! Beauty dreams of the dying beast. I say let him pass and leave a desiccated corpse. I thought that might wake her up. Beauty has an intrusive pang of conscience and decides to return before the beast dies. Bah! I already see where this is going, and I don't like it. Oh, I knew it! She finds a prince hidden inside that beastly exterior. I think I liked him better before. Let's sour this before it becomes too sweet. Another wedding? Must there always be a wedding? Arg! Arg! Did I say arg? Aye, matey. Forget the wedding. Let's set sail. Ahoy! Shiver me timbers. Walk the plank, you peg-legged prig, hang 'em from the yardarm. Friggin' in the riggin'. Ahoy! I'm off like a bride's nightie. So much for weddings. Ho-ho! Aye, matey, nightmare ahoy!
Deprived of its proud status by deliciously malevolent acts of nature and men, Beauty and her family end up more than whole. Only someone with a well-developed sense of irony would welcome the family's precipitous descent into permanent poverty and deprivation. Father's skills at the bank or tavern count for nothing. Totally useless in the elements. He suspects the snow creatures are business rivals dressed in ermine. Fear of being consumed by ravenous wolves moved him toward a castle. A more sentient being would recognize this bizarre and unnatural abode as sinister and pass it by. That Beauty would take her father's place on the beast's menu without a word of reproach or regret is simply incredible. Now there's a woman I could get next to. So Beauty was delivered up to the ferocious beast. She was terrified, and with good reason. Turns out her family was mainly interested in how much beastly gold she could get her hands on before the creature had her for dessert. Her useless family musings notwithstanding, recurring nightmares eventually pointed her in a different direction. Thinking she'd lost all claims to the pleasures of the castle, Beauty was frantic. Fortunately, the beast had left some zombie elixir nearby, and she revived him on the spot. Well, it's not my story after all. Don't blame me for the wedding, but it was a seemly affair. Same species and all, and her family, surely looking for another windfall of gold and movable goods, wasn't even invited. They were sold to the pirates. Serve them right. When enchantment's in the mix, it's sometimes hard to know where one's sympathies sit. Things worked out well for the prince, certainly, but I've always wondered if Beauty was a bit disappointed that she never spent a night with her beast. May all our stories end so well. Until next time.